lovely colouring friends. My name is Amanda and this is my channel, Amanda Colours. So I am here and you can actually see my face. So you can probably guess that there is something different happening today. I, quite a number of weeks ago now, put out on my various social media platforms asking you guys to ask me any questions that you had. So I said it could be about colouring, it could be about YouTube, about myself, about Australia, and I have a whole bunch of questions that you guys submitted, and I'm finally getting a chance to sit down and answer them for you. So I'm going to answer some face-to-face and some I will do with a desk view so that you can see the various books that I'm talking about and pages and things like that. And I have broken them up into colouring questions, YouTube questions, Australia questions, and just like general questions about my life and what have you. So I hope that you enjoy this video and enjoy hearing the answers to the questions. Okay, so I'm going to answer some colouring questions, and I'm just going to move those so that they're not in the way. Okay, the first one is, are there any books, pens or pencils, etc. that you have never shown us? I'm sure there probably are, but the only thing that I can think of, and I forgot to show them in my last haul video, are the Color pencils. Now, my mum is amazing. I love her so much. Not just because she bought me these, but I just love her anyway. But she bought me the 520 set of Color pencils. Like, incredible. I actually have 2 of these folders for them all, because there are so many. I hate the way that they have done them. I've just done them in their numbers and in the order of the swatch here. But yeah, I really don't like the color orders that they've done them in, so I will fix that at some stage. But I only just managed to get them all in this case the other day. So, well, the 2 cases. So there's this one and another one. And I haven't used them all that much yet, so I don't really even know how I feel about them. But Color is a good brand. I think she must have got them at a good price because she's not one to just spend money for no reason. But yeah, I'm really excited to try those. But they are the only thing I can think of that I know for sure that I haven't shown you guys. But have I shown you this? The 2025 colouring planner. I know I've shown it to you. I'm being silly. But don't forget to check this out. You can get it on Amazon. Just search Amanda Colours and it will come up. And it is a colouring planner, especially for colorists. In the description, I will add a link to a video about this so that you can find out more there as well. So anyway, I just had to do that little plug. But yeah, I'm sure there are other things that I've probably got that I haven't shown you, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Do I have a favorite marker paper I would suggest for printing PDF pages on for coloring? This is actually a hard one because I haven't really found one that I love. There are all kinds of different marker papers out there. I actually recently just bought some from Spotlight here in Australia, which is a bit like a Joann's or a Michael's overseas. But I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know if it's any good. I do also have like Nina papers. But to be honest, I really don't print and color PDFs all that often. So unfortunately, I don't have a very good answer for you for this one. Next question. What is something you like to see others color, but don't like doing it yourself? For me, it's hair and portraits. Love them and wish I enjoyed them, but I don't. Yeah, so I'm a little bit the same with portraits. I'm fine if I just do like, I should have got it, but like my Hannah Lynn portraits that I do every month. You know, just using alcohol markers, that's fine. I don't mind doing that. But really detailed portraits with colored pencils and that sort of thing, that's not really my jam either. I also don't really enjoy super detailed pages. Like a lot of Johanna Basford is too much for me. And like the mythographic books, oh my goodness, like no, that just doesn't, it doesn't interest me. But I love seeing how other people color them because they just look incredible. But yeah, it's just not my thing. What are your favorite books you have been coloring in lately? So I have a lot of favorite books. Like I really, really do. I was preparing for this video and I almost could have gotten my whole multiple shelves bookshelf out and said, these are all my favorite books. But I decided to go with what I've been coloring in lately. So I have 3. So the first one is Doggy Doodles, and that is partly why I have a hashtag for it. I think it's adorable. They're just so cute. I love dogs. I love Lala Gonzalez's illustrations, and these are just really, really cute ones. So there's Doggy Doodles, and I will try and have links to all of the books and everything that I mention in the description so that you can find them. Now, this one is Boule de Poire, I think it is, which means furballs in English, by Diane Dufour. And I actually haven't colored in this. I have a whole bunch I need to catch up on for a tag, but I just love this book in general, and I will be coloring in it more very soon, possibly even later today. So there's that one. And then the other one that I have been enjoying quite a lot lately is Mini Mania by Gabby Wolf. And I'm just going to move Emerald out of the way there. Yes, so Mini Mania, the first one, I love all of them, but this one I've been coloring in a bit lately. Again, super, super cute illustrations. And I really, really enjoy it. So they are books, the favorite books that I've been coloring in lately. Next question. How much of your day do you spend coloring? I can color a day away, but then my eyes hurt. So it really, really depends. Mostly it depends on the fibro and what else I have on that day. But I've kind of, before I took the big break for moving and everything, I would color every day or most days. An hour or so, maybe a page or two, depending on how detailed the pages were. And I tend to do it in the evenings while I'm watching TV with my mum. So I kind of, yeah, just do that. But yeah, I definitely went through a period where I was having a lot of hand pain, and I really couldn't do pencil coloring. I couldn't do a lot of other things. But I recognize, you know, eye strain, hand pain, back pain, all that sort of thing. It does also play into my coloring. So I just have to do what I can when I can. What is the best piece of coloring advice you were ever given? I'm not sure I've ever really been given any coloring advice. But something I have learnt through doing tutorials is really slowing down. Like, if you want a page to look really good, don't rush it. Take the time to do multiple layers, especially with pencils. If you build up light layers of pencil, it just works. It looks so much better. You get better blends of colors. You get better coverage with your pencils. But the idea of slowing down can be applied to any medium you use. If you're using paint or markers or pens or honestly anything, if you take your time, you slow down, you enjoy the process rather than trying to just get the page finished and get to, you know, the destination or to the goal or whatever, then you can see it in your page, or at least I can see it. And actually I can tell with some people, like when I know they're coloring, I can tell when they've taken their time and when they've rushed something, just from knowing their style and what have you. But yeah, that would be probably my advice anyway. Okay, so the next question is, are the names and colors of the Prisma Colors and Tic the same? Noticed when color alongs were done by some YouTubers, the names were familiar. If not a quick answer, then a video of a side-by-side comparison of colors and names would be amazing, as I can't afford Prismas, but could follow along with my Artex on a lot of color alongs. So I actually don't know. So I just pulled out my pencils because I am blessed to have been able to get both. So I love my Artex pencils. Honestly, they're such good value for money. And they are very comparable to Prismas. Okay, so let's have a look. We have cream and cream. Jasmine. Do we have a jasmine in our Artex? No, we don't. So that's pretty simple. No, they're not the same. And I'm pretty sure there are more Prismas than there are Artex. Yeah, because there's 126 and 143. But honestly, I'm sure someone somewhere would have done a comparison, like a chart. If not, I might look into doing that and trying to match the different Artex pencils to the Prisma pencils. And I just noticed that my Artex pencil is splitting. Can you see that? That's not very good. But anyway, so the short answer is no. The long answer is I might try and do a video and compare them as much as I can. Although I do have my... So the Carmine Red and the Carmine Red, yeah, they're pretty close. We don't have a permanent red. Let's compare the Crimsons. The Crimsons are different. Can you see that? This one's brighter and that one's deeper. Crimson Lake is pretty much the same. So it's a bit of hit and miss, but you probably could just follow along with Prismacolor color-alongs and use your Artex. I don't think there would be that, like, I don't think the end result would be that different from if you use Prismas. So hopefully that helps. But I might still do another video in the future comparing them properly. Okay, next one. What pages are you most proud of this year? Do you color any color by number books? So I might do this. Yes, I do color in color by number books. I actually really enjoy them, and I don't know why I don't color in them more, but this is one that I've colored quite a few in, so I just thought I would show you some pages. So we've got Ariel, and this was the first one I got. So I was trying different mediums. This was my like Derwent Studio pencils. This is water-based markers. This is alcohol markers, which then bled through. So then I used paint markers on the back page to cover that up, but you can still see a bit of the alcohol marker coming through. Then I did another one with alcohol markers, which I'll have to do the back page as paint markers. This one is different paint markers, and that one is pencil. So yeah, I do them. I have another paint marker, I do like the paint markers. I have noticed other people just use acrylic paint and actually paint on there, which I want to try as well, because you would get more coverage with paint marker and cover up the numbers underneath. But yeah, I do them. I don't know. I need to get to them more. So back to the question of pages that I am proud of. I really love this page. So this is Eeyore in Winnie the Bear by Colouring Book Cafe. I really like how this turned out. And if it hasn't come out already, don't worry, it's coming soon. I'm going to do a tutorial on how I coloured the water, because I had a few people ask me about that. So I'm really happy with this one. This is with alcohol markers, and it is generally my favoured medium. But yeah, really happy with how that page turned out. And then also something different, we have Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. And the page that I'm really proud of is this one here. I followed a tutorial by Jen's Colouring Corner, and I'll try and remember to link to that up there. This uses Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons in the background. And then Prisma color pencils, or are they polychromos? I can't remember, one of the two. And then Tooly Art acrylic paint markers for outlines and highlights and things. And yeah, I'm really proud of how the page turned out. So they are a couple of pages that I did this. I think I did that this year. Was that this year? Yeah. Thought I better check that. Yeah, a couple of pages that I am proud of from this year. Am I self-taught or did I go to school? What do you think is the hardest thing to learn about when you're choosing a colour scheme? So I didn't go to school for colouring, but I did go to school for design. You do learn a little bit about rendering and colour, I guess a little bit about colouring, but like adding colour to illustrations and things through that, but not a whole lot. I did life drawing, which I didn't really enjoy. I'm not a very good drawer. I also did architectural drafting. I'm actually much better at that than drawing. But really, I'm self-taught. Yeah, just a lot of trial and error. But when it comes to choosing colour schemes, that is like colour is something that I love. And I seem to have developed an eye for it. So over many years of looking at colours, it's like I've managed to train my brain to really see a colour and like its undertones and things like that. And so that helps a lot when you're combining colours. I actually have done a video series. It was a while ago now, but I will link up to it in the iCards and in the description. It's basically colour theory basics. So it kind of goes into, you know, the fundamentals of colour theory and how to combine colours and why they work and that sort of thing. So if you haven't seen that, go and have a look at that. And getting a basic understanding of colour theory is really going to help in choosing a colour scheme, because you want to start combining colours that make sense. So swatching your supplies is really important to see how they actually come out, and don't just rely on the colour of the packaging or the tube or whatever. A basic understanding of colour theory, and using resources like there are the colour cubes. I'm going to talk about these in a minute. There's a link to where you can get these in my bio. There are also digital versions of these, so you don't have to pay for the actual physical cards. But you can also just go on Pinterest. Pinterest has so many color palettes, like put in color palette inspiration, or put in vintage color palette inspiration, pastel color palette inspiration, purple color palette inspiration, whatever it is you're looking for, and you will find so many examples of color palette ideas. Why can't I separate these? Like, I wouldn't naturally think of putting a bright yellowy green with purples, but how dynamic is that? Like, it looks really cool. So looking for inspiration as well is a really great place to start. You don't even have to search for color palettes. Like, say you're coloring a mystical castle page, you could put in mystical castle into Pinterest or into Google and just look through the images that it brings up, and you may find a color palette that's something unusual or something really catches your eye. And that's a really great way to start to understand how colors work together and start to mix up your color palette ideas. Okay, so that actually feeds into the next question. When did you get the idea to start the AUSSIE palette challenge, and what was your thought process around that? So the idea I had was literally when I ordered the color cubes from Sarah Renee Clark. So she invented these, and while I was waiting for them to arrive, I actually reached out to her because I had the idea to do the palette challenge. I was fairly new. I don't think I'd been part of YouTube for very long, but I was fairly new, and I partly wanted something to help grow my channel and to meet people and to interact with people. So I wanted to start a hashtag challenge, but because these were coming, I thought, well, there's 500 of them. I can do one a month for a long time and challenge myself to use different colors that I normally wouldn't put together, but then other people might be interested in doing that too. So that is how I started the palette challenge. And yeah, every month is a different card out of one of these boxes, and then we'll just keep going until people get sick of it, really. But it is very popular. Lots of people love doing it. Some people are doing like whole books where each page is a different palette. Other people have done pages where there's like multiple little illustrations and each illustration is a different palette for each month. So it's really, really cool for me to see how you guys use the palette. Yeah, so that is that one. Next question. Do you ever struggle to do hashtags or prompt coloring when you sit down to color? I would love to join hashtags and prompts, but I find that when I try to color, I no longer want to color. This happens all the time. So yes, it does happen for me too. Mostly it is because I might decide to do a challenge and then sit down to color and really kind of don't feel like I want to be dictated to what I should color. I really don't like being told what to do. But you know, I'm also a people pleaser, so try and work that out. But anyway, yeah, so sometimes I don't feel like coloring what the prompt is. Sometimes I just suck it up and do it anyway, and other times I just don't do the challenge, or I wait for another day and see if it strikes me then. But even sometimes with my own challenges, I don't really feel it. So I usually just wait for another day. And then other times I do it because I feel like it's my responsibility because it is my actual challenge. So there's that too. But I hope that helps. I think it's normal to sit down and not feel inspired, and just give yourself some space and try again another day. The next question, do you color and listen to music? If so, what has been your favorite song to listen to while coloring? Mostly I actually watch TV while I'm coloring. Sometimes I watch YouTube. Sometimes I listen to audiobooks. But I listen to music a lot of the rest of the time. Mostly it's worship music, Christian music, because I just find that is better for my mental health and my soul, and a lot of other music out there just, yeah, doesn't leave me feeling very good. Even the nice stuff doesn't always. But if we are talking about other music, I really love Celine Dion. I love John Mayer. I love Sia. Who else? I'm really liking Teddy Swims at the moment. Yeah, I don't know, pop music, I guess, really, and ballads and singer-songwriter stuff. Yeah, that would be it. Do your hands ever hurt and mess with your coloring? I love coloring, but cannot for long periods like I used to. What do you do for your hands? Yeah, I kind of touched on this before. Absolutely, I have issues with my hands. I find when it was really bad, I actually had a splint that I had along here for my thumb that kind of immobilized my thumb. Wearing that for a few weeks helped a lot. I had to slow down on my coloring. I stopped pencil coloring for a while because it takes so much more toll on your hands than, say, alcohol marker coloring does. So I was doing more of that, which I love anyway. I really love alcohol markers. And what else did I do? I would use anti-inflammatory gels, or honestly though, coloring in short periods and resting is really the best thing for hand pain. It's so frustrating. I really understand that, because you just want to get a page done, or you just enjoy coloring so much you don't want to not do it. But yeah, try and take care of yourself. It's important. Next up, how did you learn to blend? Videos, books, school, naturally. Where do you suggest I go to learn? So a lot of it was trial and error. I just kind of taught myself. But there is, why can I not think of it? There is an amazing Australian woman who does is it Kitten Caboodle? No, it's not Kitten Caboodle. Kitten Clouder. Kitten Clouder. Anyway, I'll look for who it is and I will link to them down in the description. She does amazing alcohol marker classes online. They're very low cost. I think you can often get them discounted, but she does illustrations and she will do a pencil tutorial for it and she'll do an alcohol marker tutorial for it. Sometimes she will do both mediums on the one, but she is very, very, very good at blending and using alcohol markers. There are a bunch of other people online, but mostly I've just taught myself, and I have a long way to go to be honest. I can't blend like a lot of people can. So yeah, a lot of practice, a lot of trial and error. Of your colouring books, which are your 3 favourite and why? Okay, so probably my all-time favourite is Meine Reise durch Europa. So my Europe journey. Is that what it is? I wrote it down somewhere. My Journey Through Europe by Rita Berman. Partly because I love Europe. I've always been fascinated with it. Want to go there. Want to see more. And look, I love that page. Well, spread. Yeah, I just love the illustrations. I really enjoy colouring in here. It is a bit more of a challenge because I use pencils, not alcohol markers. I've done a bunch of tutorials. So actually, back on that other question, how did you learn to blend? They didn't even actually ask about alcohol markers. I was assuming they were. But there are a lot of YouTube people out there that do amazing colouring. This was using Doe and Intense pencils, and it's Marit's Colourful Adventure. Yeah, so, and this one, the background was by Shelley's Colouring Journey, or Shell's Colouring Journey, using Neocolor 2s. So yeah, you can find, it's really amazing. Look on Pinterest, not Pinterest, look on Patreon, and look on YouTube for tutorials. They're everywhere. I'll try and link to a few that I know of as well. But this is one of my favorite books. I don't know. I just love it. I love Europe. I love Rita. And then a very different style book is Annie Day. And that's another reason why she's one of my colouring hashtags each month. She is my favorite colouring book character, full stop. I love Morgan's illustrations anyway, but this is the original Annie Day book. He has recently brought out two more, which I have purchased and I do have them. I just haven't coloured in them yet, but I just think she's beautiful. She's so sweet, and I love the the things that she's doing and all of that. If I could be a character, I would be Annie and live her little life. So yeah, Annie Day. And then I also really love, this is Mermaids of the World by Diane Dufour. I actually haven't coloured in this yet, but it is one of my favourite colouring books. I really, really love the illustration style, and I love mermaids, and I love that they're taking on different cultures from all over the world and all that sort of thing. It's gorgeous. So they're 3 of my favourite books. In my collection, how many books or PDFs do I have from Australian artists? Which of these have I coloured from, and which are my favourite pages from those? So I think we are terribly lacking in Australian colouring book artists. I am only aware of 3, and I only own now. I did used to own from more, but I only own R.J. Hampson books. I did have, I can't even think of his name, but I just passed the books on to a friend because they're too detailed for me and I wasn't colouring in them. But I will show you, these are all my R.J. Hampson books. So I don't have all of them, but I have a bunch of them, and quite a few of them I haven't even coloured in yet. But yeah, so let's have a look at, so I don't think I've coloured in that, but I haven't marked that I haven't coloured in that. Where are we? Okay, Forest Song. I'm pretty sure I've done a page in here. So I've done that one. It's got metallic gold around there and little bits down here. I do really like RJ's illustration style a lot, but I am probably more drawn to the more simple pages, to be honest. Again, that's just my taste. A Frog's Tale. RJ's just about to bring out another book too, called Hide and Seek, which will be fun. There's this one. I actually really like this page. I did pretty well. Well done, me. And I really love his new books. I thought I have Awake as well. Maybe I don't. Huh. I need to look for that. But he has, yeah, these sweet and simple ones. There's Asleep and Awake. And as the title suggests, they're simple. And I really like simple pages. They're fun to get done quickly. But yeah, there's another lady who I've just very, very recently become aware that she's created a colouring book, and I'm going to be ordering it tomorrow. She's Australian. She actually lives on the Central Coast, not far from me at all. So that's kind of exciting, and I will show you guys that book when it comes. But I'm not really aware of any other Australian illustrators other than this one whose name I can't remember. But anyway, so if you know of any that I've missed, please let me know, because I would love to be supporting more Australians. And if you are Australian and you're able to illustrate, get onto it. Make some Australian colouring books. Or just make colouring books and be Australian. That's what I mean. They don't have to be Australian themed. Okay, what are your favourite pencils? So I think I kind of touched on that before, but I would say my Artex are my favourite, because I personally don't think that you can beat them on value for money for the finish that you can get from them. They're not super cheap, but they are nowhere near as expensive as, say, Prisma Colors or Polychromos pencils. You get 143 of them. And yeah, if you're looking for color charts, I have a whole bunch of them in my Ko-fi store, and the link to that is also in the description, for all different mediums, pencils, markers, all sorts of things. And I am constantly growing that. So yeah, my Artex, I love the way they go down on paper. They blend well. They're my favorites. Oh, I've lost my spot. Did I colour as a young girl, and what got you into adult colouring? So yes, I have always coloured. I never really stopped. As soon as I could hold pencils and crayons and things, I was colouring. And have always done it, but I was very excited when the whole adult colouring thing started to happen in the 20-teens, I guess it was, where books sort of started to come out, books like Johanna Basford's and Millie Marotter's and that sort of thing. But as I said before, I actually I don't prefer busy pages, so I did struggle with those. It's since other books have started to become more popular. And another big part of it for me was actually when Amazon became a thing in Australia. It's still growing here. Like, it's still nowhere near as good as Amazon UK or Amazon US or anything like that. We certainly don't get the same sorts of deals and sales and things. But we do have Amazon printing, which is great, so I can get a lot of those books, and it has made a lot of other books accessible, even if they are a bit expensive. Yeah, I try and save up for the more expensive ones when I really, really love them. So yeah, having those sorts of books available, and then I stumbled across Colouring YouTube. I don't even remember how it happened, but I did. And I started seeing all these amazing books, and I started seeing all these amazing people and the way they coloured. And that changed coloring, coloring for me as an adult. So I was already coloring, but it made me really kind of focus and want to improve my skills, and my coloring medium repertoire has expanded considerably, and my books have expanded considerably. And yeah, then I just kind of wanted to get more involved. So I made a channel. Now I'm making books for you guys. I've got the coloring book. I've got the coloring planner. More is coming for sure. So keep an eye out for that too. Okay, next. What's your favorite coloring medium to use? Markers, pens, pencils, etc. I've actually already answered this. Oh, let me see if I can get it. This is heavy. But my favorite are my Copic markers. So I have been collecting these for literally 20 years or more. I'm not exaggerating, it's literally taken me that long. And I mostly have the Chow markers, which are these round ones, because they are the most affordable. They're not available in every color, so I have some in the Sketch, which is more oval shaped here, to get some extra colors. Excuse me, I love that they're refillable because I go through them a lot. And if I was having to buy whole new sets all the time, it would just be so unaffordable. But yeah, I get the refills, I fill them up. I love them. I love the way they go down on paper. The Ohuhus, though, are very, very good. They are more affordable than the Copics, and a lot, like Ohuhu, are bringing out more and more that you can refill. So if you're just starting out, I would invest in Ohuhu markers. I think they're great. But I had started my Copic collection long before I knew Ohuhus even existed. And that's what I've gotten used to. So that is my favorite coloring medium. And then I've run out of space. Okay. The very last question for the coloring section is, what am I itching to color? So I have a couple of books here. The first one is the Barbie Color by Numbers. I absolutely love Barbie. I always have. I went into a bit of a spiel about that on my latest haul video, which I will link to if I still have any links I'm allowed to use left in this video. And also in the same haul video, I talk about the Forest Girl coloring books that I got off Facebook, and I'd love to give these a go. Even though they're more detailed, you know, sometimes it's fun to sit down and really spend the time doing more detailed. And I love that there's the coloured plate on the side for inspiration. So they're the two books that I'm itching to get into. Oh yeah, this is a colour by number, so spoiler alert, I'm going to show you some of the finished pages. Well, not finished pages, but solutions or answers. But yeah, I love Barbie. I love the colour. I love the feel. It's just so nostalgic to me. 80s Barbie was the best, or maybe it was 90s, but anyway, I was born in the 80s. Yeah, so that is it for the colouring questions. Okay, so now we have some YouTube questions. And the first one is, what made you decide to create your own YouTube channel? Was it difficult in the beginning? For example, the thought of hearing my own recorded voice makes me go, never. Ah! So what made me decide to start a YouTube channel? I had actually been thinking of doing a YouTube channel for quite a while because I have done all kinds of social media things. So I've been on Facebook almost since it began. Instagram, I was one of the very first users in Australia to use it. I was actually invited to Pinterest before it really even began to start using it, because I have also done blogging for quite some time. And yeah, so I really enjoyed blogging. I did it for quite a number of years, about art and design, about lifestyle, just general bits and pieces. And I kind of felt like YouTube was probably the next thing for me to try out. I don't know why. I have just kind of enjoyed sharing my life and sharing bits and pieces with people. I discovered colouring channels on YouTube, and that was part of what helped me kind of really get into adult colouring. And I thought that maybe I might have something to contribute. I didn't really see very many Australians, and I thought it would be good for other Australians to be able to relate to someone who has access to the same books and materials and things like that. And yeah, so I just decided to give it a go. As far as hearing my own voice, that hasn't really been an issue for me because I actually used to sing. So you hear yourself, you know, using microphones and things like that. So yeah, I've always been aware that my voice sounds different, you know, than it does in my own head. And it's just hasn't been an issue for me. It does take quite a bit of time to make a YouTube channel. That is, if you want, you know, if you're wanting to put good effort in and make good quality videos. For myself, I guess I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't feel like I rush videos out and don't put effort in, but I also definitely try to find ways to make videos that don't take too much effort or too much editing. You know, some people have incredible high production value videos. I don't have the equipment all the time or the energy. Well, I probably have the time, but not the energy to create videos like that. It can be difficult to kind of build your following, but you just have to get it out there amongst colouring groups and contact other YouTubers and see if you can collaborate with them. Doing buddy colours is another great way to do it, because you can ask your buddies to help promote your channel, that kind of thing. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else that you would like to know about running a colouring YouTube channel. But I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to kind of keep going. So the other YouTube question I have you met any other YouTubers from the colouring community in person? No, I haven't. I am only aware of one, maybe two three Australian YouTube colouring YouTubers, but I don't actually know where in Australia they live, and I haven't reached out to them to see if they would like to meet up. But I have thought it would be fun to do colouring meetups, not even just with YouTubers, but just in general. But yeah, maybe sometime in the future I will do that. Okay, so next questions are about Australia. I'm just going to organise myself here. So the first one is, this may be a dumb question, but how often do you see kangaroos in the wild? I've seen a couple of videos recently and totally wondered about this. They look terrifying, like so muscly and human, but with an animal head. Yeah, kangaroos are pretty full on. They are big and muscly, and especially the red kangaroos, they could be 6 foot tall when they actually stand up, and be every bit as strong and muscly, possibly more, as a man. So where I live, I have not seen any kangaroos. I have seen wallabies, and they are like a smaller version of a kangaroo. I guess a full-grown wallaby would probably be standing up. It would probably be about hip height for me. And since we moved here a year ago, I've only seen one. And we live in a pretty, we have a lot of bushland around us, which is where these animals live. So not very often. It really, really, really depends on where you live. It's like, in America, asking an American if they see bears every day, or in Canada, if you see moose every day. It depends where you live. Some people would see kangaroos every day. I know out on a lot of farms, there are so many kangaroos that they've actually become pests. But yeah, I don't really see kangaroos in my daily life. Mostly I see native birds, which is pretty cool. We have kookaburras and cockatoos and galahs and rainbow lorikeets and rosellas, magpies, noisy miners, which aren't native, but there's so many of them around. Yeah, so we see lots of birds here. And yeah, that's kind of it. So next question, do you ever want or wish to live somewhere else other than Australia? So yeah, I have always wanted to live in England. I did go for an extended stay there a number of years ago. Absolutely loved it. Ever since I was a really little girl, I just had like this fascination with all things British. And I still do. Everything from like ancient Britain, the Vikings coming, Roman Britain. I actually studied that for my senior year in high school. You know, the royal family, British food. I've just always loved it. So I would absolutely love to live there. I love the British accent, would love to marry a British man, you know, if there's any out there who are interested. And yeah, so England would be probably my first choice. I also would I would consider seriously Scandinavia, so Denmark, Sweden, that part of the world. Again, I've just always been fascinated with the culture and the people and the history. I love their sense of design, that sort of thing. Yeah, that would be the places that I would choose. The next question is, why do you live in Australia? If you chose that country, why did you choose to live there? Also, do you live in an area where there are big insects? If so, how do you manage to live with them? So I didn't choose to live in Australia. I was born in Australia. And well, I guess I have chosen to live here because I haven't moved elsewhere, but moving country is no joke. My stepfather moved from America to Australia to marry my mum, and it was a big ordeal. And I have just recently had a friend who married a guy, an American guy, and the process she had to go through to move countries was huge. But I have also had a friend, actually her sister, moved to London fairly recently to live and work there. I am totally open to doing it one day, but a lot of things would have to fall into place for that to happen. Do I live in an area where there are big insects? Yes and no. As I said, I live in an area that has a lot of bushland around, which is kind of like the forest or the woods or what have you, with a lot of eucalyptus trees. And we do get insects. We don't get the big spiders that, again, it really depends where you live in Australia when you get all these things. I think possibly we may get snakes in summer, but I haven't seen any. They tend to stay away from people, really. We don't get the big spiders. We do get really big stick insects, but that doesn't really bother me. They just, you know, just kind of leave them alone and they don't bite or anything like that. The main issue we get is flies in summer. But, you know, you get those anywhere. Okay. So what is my favorite place to visit in Australia? What if someone were visiting there for the first time? What 3 places do you think are must-see places? Where's the best food? So my favorite place in Australia would be the city of Melbourne. I've only actually been there once, but I absolutely loved it. It's, I guess, really, it's Australia's cultural hub. So a lot of art, a lot of design, museums, galleries. Australia has an amazing food and coffee culture because our population is made up of so many different nationalities. We just have the most incredible array of food that is available at restaurants and cafes and eateries and, you know, all those things. And Melbourne is also really well known for its food culture and its coffee culture. I don't know if you know this, but Australia is the reason that McDonald's has McCafe. And yeah, Australians are very particular about their coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I'm very aware of the culture. It has to be good coffee. It has to be fresh coffee. None of this, you know, instant coffee or drip coffee or, you know, like percolated coffee. It has to be freshly ground. It has to be made in a proper coffee, steam coffee machine. It's a whole thing. And a lot of Australians have like decent, good coffee makers in their home. But anyway, we're not talking about coffee. So I would absolutely recommend you go to Melbourne. Sydney is iconic. You know, you have the Opera House, you have the Harbour Bridge. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous harbour area. But to be completely honest, the actual city itself is more of a business district. I don't think it's all that interesting other than the harbour, having lived near it most of my life. So I would recommend Melbourne. Definitely go right up north to Queensland, to tropical Queensland. Go out to the Barrier Reef. I did that this time last year and it was amazing. Definitely recommend that. And the third place, there's a lot of Australia I haven't seen. But Tasmania, which is the little island right at the bottom of Australia, is gorgeous. It's probably the closest that Australia gets to Europe in the climate and the topography, not typography, the landscape, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's beautiful. Really, really beautiful down there. Lots of, you know, gorgeous landscapes and rivers and mountains and bushland, and you can go and see penguins. And yeah, they are the places that I would recommend. So that is it for the Australia questions. Now, the next few are just general about my life and stuff. So the first one is, apart from the physical toll of the move and the consequent adjustments, do you find life easier or better in the new place or the old place? Can you list some of the pros and cons? Okay, so I definitely find life better in the new place. Some of the pros are we have adjusted our bathroom so that it is a walk-in shower. There's a built-in bench seat in there so that I don't have to step over anything to get in the shower. I can sit down if I need to. We have a handheld thing and a mounted shower thing so that, you know, if I'm having a weak arm day, I don't have to hold anything. But yeah, for ease of cleaning, ease of myself, plus the shower, we have a handheld one. In this house, it is 2-story, but everything I need to do is on the ground floor. So I don't actually have to go up the stairs at all. That's my mum's area of the house. So I don't have to worry about stairs on bad days. We have incredible light. I'm sitting in our lounge room now, which might be a bit echoey now that I think about it because we have very high voltage ceilings. But we added into skylights that let in a whole lot of light. Just having the bush as our outlook is really lovely. The area is really quiet. But some of the cons are we're not as central to amenities as we used to be. So I have to travel further for doctors. We literally used to have a supermarket across the road from our house. Now we have to travel, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to our closest shops and supermarket, which isn't a long way. It's just a different way of life. So things like that have been a challenge, especially traveling to doctors all the time. Like to see a lot of my new specialists is over an hour each way. Sometimes further. But I miss my friends. I miss, you know, having friends nearby. But even then, a lot of my closest friends have recently moved overseas anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that answers that question. Okay, so would I ever travel to different countries and take my coloring books and supplies with me? If so, what places are on my travel list? So absolutely, I love traveling, even with my health issues. As I said before, about this time last year, I went to northern Queensland, to tropical Queensland, to the Great Barrier Reef. That was on a cruise ship, and so I did take coloring and I took diamond painting with me on that. I have traveled to New Zealand before, and I have also traveled to England and America. I would like to see more of America, but I'm far more interested in seeing more of England, more of the UK. I'd love to go to Europe. I'd love to go to Scandinavia. I would love to visit Japan, particularly in cherry blossom season. I wouldn't mind going to Singapore, possibly Hong Kong. I'd like to go back to New Zealand and see more of it. We were only there for a week and we were staying with friends, and it rained the whole time, so we didn't really get to see all that much. And I don't know yet, but I may be going to Dubai next year, which will be amazing, to stay with a really, really good friend of mine who lives over there. So that could be exciting, and I will probably take coloring with me. How old was I when I realized I enjoyed art and being creative so much that I decided to make a career of it, going into graphic design? So I'm not really sure I ever realized that I love art and design. I think it was just always there, and it always just felt normal and natural and part of who I was. But as far as graphic design and making a career out of it, when I was in probably year 10, so I think that's like sophomore year. I don't know the American equivalent. But anyway, year 10, so like the third last year of high school, is kind of over here when they start to encourage you to start thinking about what you want to do when you leave school. And I was absolutely convinced I wanted to be an interior designer. And so I actually pursued that. I finished school. I started studying interior design, and actually started working in the industry and realized it really wasn't what I wanted to do all day, every day. And as much as I love it, and I still love it, and it's been so amazing to use those skills as part of the renovations we've just finished on our house. And I do hope to be able to share some photos with you, but things are still not fully how I would like them before I share photos. So yeah, I knew I wanted to do something creative. Turned out it wasn't interior design. So I enrolled in a university course that was a Bachelor of Design, and it gave me the opportunity to actually experience a bunch of different areas in design. So there was things like environment design, textile design, jewelry design. There was a whole bunch. I can't even remember them all. And I really enjoyed all of them. But with every assignment that I had, there just seemed to be a really strong graphic design element that was coming through in everything I was doing. And a couple of my my tutors suggested that maybe graphic design was what I might like to do, and just focus on that. And so I looked into it and decided to do that, and then withdrew from university and went and did a really, really practical 2-year graphic design course. So that was when I was 23. Yeah. So I started studying graphic design when I was 23, and have just loved it ever since, really. I did my course, started working in the industry, then eventually had the opportunity to be self-employed, which was amazing. I never really want to have to go back to working for someone else. I've had to give it up pretty much at the moment. I mean, I use the skills for the YouTube channel and the coloring planner. If you haven't checked that out, I will link to the video. because it's an amazing planner for colorists. And thank you all so much for the incredible feedback you've been giving me about it. You totally have made my month. Like, it's incredible. Thank you. And yeah, so I guess I am rambling so much. I'm sorry. So yeah, I was 23 when I finally decided to study graphic design. Okay. Do I have any other hobbies besides coloring? Basically, I just love doing anything that's creative. I do diamond paintings. I really enjoy interior design, so I'll do little things around the house. I might do other sort of like art kits, like, I don't know, air dry clay, little projects. One year I made a whole bunch of Christmas decorations from air dry clay and painted them to give to my family and friends. I used to actually have a business creating stationery. I also used to create alcohol ink art, and I used to do big canvases and sell them, and little objects as well, which I may get back into one day. I really love doing puzzles, which I haven't done for a long time. And I was just talking to my mum about it yesterday, actually, that I have a bunch that I've never done. I'd like to get back into doing puzzles. I also really just like watching TV. Well, not really TV, but like streaming TV series. And I prefer series over movies. Yeah, that's probably about it. Okay, the last question is, can you tell us about your weight loss journey, if that's not too personal? So I've debated quite a bit about talking about this, because I have gone through periods in my life where I've lost a lot of weight and then put it all back on. I used to have a whole blog about it. I used to have a whole Instagram account about it, where I was sharing comparison photos and things. And it has been a lifelong battle for me, my weight. And this most recent period of weight loss has really come about with quite a number of factors coming together. So I did have weight loss surgery. I know that's very controversial for some people, which I think is ridiculous, because being obese and overweight is as much a disease as any other kind of disease, and you would never tell a person with cancer not to have surgery to remove it. So if surgery is able to help someone, I think that, that is a viable option, and is absolutely not the easy way out, because it changes you physically, but it doesn't change a single thing in your head. And that has been a big part of my journey too. So I've been having therapy. I have had like counseling, psychology. I have had kinesiology is something that I've been doing recently. I have also been doing a lot of, I guess, looking at it in a spiritual way as well. How and why I overeat, and why, I choose junk food over healthy food, things like that. So it's really been a very multifaceted journey this last time. And that kind of makes me feel really hopeful that this will continue and that I can maintain the weight that I've lost. I find it really, really difficult to exercise because of the fibromyalgia, but I've also been part of a pain clinic in the last 6 weeks that has really helped. The whole idea of it is to help you cope with chronic pain and find ways to manage that aren't medications or relying on medication and painkillers and that sort of thing. So that's been really good. And there's been a physio that's been involved in that process, a physiotherapist, and it has kind of given me the confidence under her guidance to start doing a bit more exercise and finding the balance between what I can do and what's going to cause a flare-up. We have a pool here where we're living now, so I'm really hoping to get in there more and even just walk up and down, because it's, it's so good such good exercise when you are still overweight and when you have joint issues and pain and that sort of thing. Exercising in water is brilliant. So I'm going to do more of that. So really, you know, practically it's focusing on my mental health and really getting into why I developed these habits, and trying to deal with the cause, because overeating, eating junk food, all that stuff really is only symptoms of something else that's going on. It's never actually about the food, and it's not actually even about the behavior. It's about why you're doing it. And yeah, I'm not going to go into all of that, but that's very, very important. The other thing is I have significantly reduced my portion sizes. The surgery has helped me do that. And I focus on protein. So I always eat protein first, and high protein, low carb, high fiber, that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm starting to get into more exercise. So since October last year, I have lost about 55 kilos, which I think is about 120 pounds. So it's quite significant. Since my heaviest weight overall, I've lost a bit over 70 kilos. I haven't actually converted that to pounds. So yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's 70. That's a lot. That's like a whole person, really. Yeah, so, well, it's more than what my stepdad weighed before he passed away. I mean, he was very sick, but yeah. So I lost a lot of weight, and as you can see, I'm getting like loose and crepey skin. I have all these wrinkles that I never used to have because it used to all be so stretched out with fat under there, but everything's a bit more saggy than it used to be. But that's okay. I am getting older anyway. And in other places in my body, like you can see here, the crepey skin, and like you can you can't tell by the light actually, but there's like my actual arm and then this extra bit where there is still obviously fat, but yeah, that's like loose skin and stuff in there too. Possibly later on I can get things like that removed and fixed, because even exercising doesn't actually get rid of loose skin. It can help fill out the loose skin with muscle. But yeah, I've got a lot of loose skin on my tummy and my legs and stuff, but that is a price I'm willing to pay to be healthier and doing better. My mobility is so much better since I've lost the weight. I am able to do more. My energy levels haven't really picked up and my pain hasn't changed, but the fact that I can actually do things physically more easily, like even just putting my shoes on and things like that, are much easier. So I'm really, really thankful that I've been able to do that. So that's it, my friends. It's quite a long video, I know, but I hope you found it interesting. I've answered all the questions that you sent me. And if you have any more, feel free to put them down in the comments, and I'll either answer them down there or make another video with some more answers. So yes, now that I hope that I've actually been looking at the camera properly, because I feel like I look everywhere but when I'm talking. But anyway, yeah, that's it. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.